Mayor Robert, Nick, welcome back to Mayor's Monday. A little bit of an eventful city council meeting last week on Tuesday. A lot of people fired up about one issue or another, but it seemed like, at least at the start, a lot of people really excited about what's going to be happening. Well, I guess just across the street from you
Sure.
here over the next 2 years, possibly. Of course, still proposed, but things are looking up for the area. We'll put it that way.
Very much so. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for having me on as your guest again. Yeah, it's really a good project as far as the Y and the Aspires expansion, including a senior center, a healthcare clinic, expanded Y facilities. It is really something that is kind of modeled after the Mayo Clinic, if you will, in Rochester, similar along those lines. It will be a state-of-the-art facility, world class. It'll bring extra revenue to the city of 20 to 30 million dollars, and they're really not looking for anything from the city except for a vacating of a couple of blocks, of city blocks, some of which I don't see being a problem, 2nd Street or Franklin. There are 2 blocks of McIndoe Street that could be of some concern to some folks. But again, it is a positive, very positive. It's actually a gift, frankly, for the city of Wausau with no city cost involved, that type of thing. But again, we'll be having public hearings. Well, I know we're going to have to get some approval from the Department of Transportation. But again, it's always going to be out there open and transparently for everybody to see. Here's the other thing. Many numerous businesses have come forward in support of it and contributed to it. The biggest one we just found out yesterday, Green Hick Fan contributed $1 million to the facility. And with something like this, it's one of those things that attract people to the area, coming to the area. It's another gem for the city, especially placed between our downtown and the riverfront. You know, there are some things that have to be worked out, of course, with the street closures, but it seems to be a project that most people are very excited about and want to see happen. The city supports this, but we're going to be planning to move forward in the right, timely way, just to make sure that folks know what's happening. Again, I know for some folks, nobody likes change, nobody likes progress, but in the end, like everything else that seems to happen that people get very passionate or upset about, things really do work out, and in the end, it kind of turns out to be much ado about nothing. Residents have that right to be concerned. I don't have a problem with that. But again, sometimes, please folks, listen to the facts, listen to the accuracy and the honesty being brought forward, which is something we've done since day one, since I've been here. We got the place changed. It's a good project. It's one that needs to be completed and move forward, and there's a lot of community support for it. So it's going to be a timely thing. We'll see what happens, but it's something that's really going to be very beneficial for the future and the growth of our city.
And I think the council got a pretty good dose of that on Tuesday night as
Yes,
well.
they did.
Of that support. I mean, even with folks from Green Heck coming in and saying, you know, look, this is something that we can make happen. Now, I know there's the one business specifically in this area that might be impacted the most is the Clover Belt Credit Union. I mean, how does the city plan to work with them on, because this is going to change access to their new facility right there, correct?
It is, and we're going to be doing updates on Fulton Street. It's just got to be given some time. This is something that's been in the works for a while, and I can understand where Clover Belt and their board is coming from. But again, we will work this through. We will see it happen and be done in the correct, right way, where everybody will feel benefited and appreciated. And I understand where Clover Belt is coming from. I understand that front entryway is facing McIndoe. The thing is, you know, it seems to have overwhelming support from just about everybody else. Again, I don't want to see one business neglected or short-sighted or anything in their views. They have a right to feel that way. But again, it is something that between the developers, Aspires, the Y, and to a limited extent the city, we will work with them and try to do the right thing and try to appease whoever. Again, from what everybody says, it's really a good thing. It's truly a gift, for lack of a better way of putting it, especially with not a lot of city involvement.
Yeah,
And I was kind of surprised last night too at the support that came out last night in favor of that. We'll see what happens. But the thing is, it's going to be done in a correct, proper, and legal way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know, I mean, for the YMCA, as just as integrated as they are into the community, whether it's the daycare or the memberships, or even what was addressed last night briefly as well, the financial support that they have for those that maybe can't afford some of the benefits of the
Right.
Y at full price. I know as employees of the radio station, we get a pretty good discount because we've got a nice agreement with the Y as well. So they are really integrated into the community, and this is only going to further tie that.
Correct. And it's an expansion that it's just good for the future of the city. But again, we want to do the right thing and work with everybody involved, and we will. But yeah, even I was a little surprised last night at all the folks that came forward in support and favored it. It was kind of nice to hear, and the council heard that. And it's just like with that one donation from Greenheck. That is incredible, frankly. It shows that project has some momentum behind it, and I would think needs to be completed and done.
One of the other topics that was brought forward during the council meeting on Tuesday night, and Mr. Mielke, I know this is something that's kind of very near and dear to you. You declared the month of September as Suicide Prevention Awareness Month here in the city of Wausau. Could you maybe elaborate on that a little more?
Well, as we know, suicide is something that's one of those unspoken taboo subjects. It's a very uncomfortable subject for folks. I can state, and not looking for pity or sympathy, I've had family members and friends that have done this as an act that is, it's not that they're bad people, it's just that, mental illness is a real thing. Behavior of others towards somebody, be it through words, deeds, whatever, can be hurtful and drive people over the edge. My thought is just trying to be aware and compassionate towards those that might be suffering, to give them a listen, to hear what they have to say, to make them know that you are loved and appreciated. A hug goes a long way, because sometimes words and actions really do hurt, especially if somebody is suffering. It's just something that I thought that needed to be brought forward. It's something I've been involved with quietly for a couple of years. This past weekend they had a suicide prevention, gathering and walk. It's just one of those things that people need to be made aware of. I know it's a very uncomfortable subject, but I think it's just something that needs to be addressed. Not to make anybody feel sad or ruin their day or anything like that, but just to make people remember, hey, you never know. And it affects everybody, regardless of their background, social, economic, race, gender, whatever. And there are a lot of mental illness issues out there. And I don't have the answers for all of them, but I also believe it should be recognized, and that most people are aware of it and really do care about one another. And I've said this before numerous, I truly believe this in my heart. Although there are days I feel challenged, most people, I think, in the world are absolutely wonderful and good and caring and decent. Yeah, there's some interesting folks out there otherwise, but if we were all the same, it'd be a boring world. But again, it was brought forward on purpose just to get that recognition and get it out there. And hopefully it's a situation that we can make a little bit easier, a little bit less suffering in the world.
Absolutely. I don't think, however many times we put the resources out there, whether it's a prevention hotline or some sort of a 24-hour center, even here in Wausau, where people call up, they walk in, and they can get the help that they need or be pointed in the direction of the help that we. I don't think as many times as we say that in the media or circulated on social media, I don't think it's enough, because obviously it's still happening.
Well, if I'm correct off the top of my head, it's the 10th leading cause of death in America now. Especially in the last 10 to 15 years, those rates have risen. And in particular, I find it kind of sad, as one of the leading causes of death for those ages 10 to 24, and also those that are older as well. Folks, everybody has a bad day. There's things that we gotta get through, but you gotta remember that tomorrow is a brand new day. And I say this not to be maudlin or sad or anything like that, but tomorrow is a new day, and things will get better. You gotta move on. Move on. It's life. You're gonna get knocked down every now and then. Believe me when I say that. But again, you pick up, you get yourself up, you brush yourself off, and you keep going. But you always know that there's people that love and support you no matter what. And sometimes, be it in the business or government or whatever world in general, we're all human. We all have our faults, we all have our weaknesses, but all of us have our strengths too. And again, it's just one of those things that I think if we take the time to acknowledge one another, to be civil and decent, you can disagree with me. I don't have a problem with that. I don't mind being criticized. Or I don't think most people do in general. But there are actions, there are things that can happen if you hit somebody on the wrong day. We're all human. We all have our faults and issues, but there's a lot of good ones too. And as I said, tomorrow is a new day, and you move forward.
Absolutely. Anything else that you'd like to add this week here before we let you go?
Well, I can't believe how quick summer went. Kind of bums me out a little bit, But I know the fall is coming. It'll be beautiful. I'm in the process of doing the city newsletter right now for the fall and the winter season. There's a lot of good things happening here in Wausau, folks. There really are a lot of good positive things happening. And I think 2019 is going to be a great year. We're working on the budget now. Budget is always a challenge. I'm sure you hear that from every other mayor or city administrator or whatever village administrator that you talk to. But you know what? Like everything else in life, we get through it. We get it taken care of. And things always seem to work out.
Absolutely. Well, we'll look forward to what's to come here in the next few months, and we'll talk to you again in October.
Sounds good. Thank you. Have a great day, Wausau.